hard for me to predict. I'm still amazed by how well she accepted it. And me and her, it's no different around her. That's the thing. It's no different with Mom. I figured our whole relationship would be so much different, and in a way it is different because I don't feel like I'm hiding. I don't feel like I'm going to get found out at any moment. But at the same time, I feel awkward around her because I'm like, oh man, she knows this big, big secret and I never intended on telling her. So, it is a bit awkward at times, but it's bearable. Uh, I probably would have told my grandmother actually after my mother found out. I probably would have told my grandmother if she would have still been here. But I really didn't plan on it, that's for sure. And I was like, I always figured that they would hate me and reject me and all that stuff, but I think the opposite would have been true. And with Mom, it was the opposite because I figured I would have lost everything. I would have lost her. That's what I was most afraid of. And she's never really told me how she knew clearly. I don't understand how she knew because I'm not really obvious at all. I mean, I don't see how she would have known. I guess, like I've thought sometimes, maybe mothers have an instinct that tells them things that you wouldn't want them to know. Maybe they can figure it out or something, I don't know. But, yeah. I guess, I don't know. She told my grandmother, her and my grandmother, she told me later today they discussed it, and Mom had suspected it, and my grandmother was just fine with it. She told me. When that came out to her, she said, it's kind of funny because she said, I thought I'd have to beat it out of you. And I was like, it's such a dazed state. I didn't find the humor in it. I was like, after it happened, after we finished talking, we talked for probably half an hour at least that night. We've talked about it off and on since then, but it's not been frequent, and I don't bring it up, and she didn't bring it up, so it's just one of those hush, well, it's not really hush-hush, but it's just, something we don't talk about, because I don't feel like there's anything to talk about, really, and, I mean, well, a lot of what I feel, it's not like she can help me anyway. The only issue I really have right now is that I want to meet some friends, and possibly find a boyfriend some way, just have something like that, but I don't know how to talk to her about that, because I just don't see how she'd be comfortable to listen to that. I mean, I know she knows, but oh my god, I've never thought about talking about something like that with my mother, no matter what. First thing I want to, after about a few days after I came out, we was outside talking again about it, and she asked me, and just straight up expression as anything, she asked me, did I ever think about talking to my grandmother? And I looked at her like she asked me the most complex mathematic equation in the world, and I suck at math. God, I do. But that's besides the point. I looked at her and I said, oh, no, I really didn't. I really didn't think she would accept me. I was terrified about both of them, but I was especially terrified about my grandmother, because, I mean, she meant the world to me. I was much significantly closer to her than I am my mother. Me and her got along very, very, very well, so that made it even harder to think about it. And, haven't really been in any situation, I haven't had any poor reaction, obviously, because I haven't really told anybody else except for my mother and the friend I referred to before. Although, I've been asked once, and I was in counseling right after my grandmother died, because I think Mom was really worried about me, because at that time, I was suicidal, I really was. Because of that, I was thinking about that, I was dealing with my grandmother's death, I was dealing with a lot at that moment, and, I was in counseling for, God, how long was it? I think it was a month, something like that. I just talked to, it was just one-on-one thing. And, when I first met the counseling guy, he asked me I think it was a part of the questionnaire he asked me if I felt like I was gay, and I was terrified at that moment. I felt sheer terror, and I was like, got tongue-tied. I replied really quickly, no. I was like, oh, no, no, no. I was like, and I knew it at that moment. I knew it then that I was gay. I knew that I liked other guys. I've known it for so long. I mean, It's pretty obvious when I first started realizing it that that's what it was, but I really denied it. I really worked at denying it. I just could not deal with it at that time. But what's funny enough, after I was so quick to say no, he took us to a movie. Well, went to a movie, and he took another guy who was my age at that time. Guy was incredibly hot, and I was like, wanted to shout it out, but I knew I couldn't at that time. I was like, damn, why did he do this? But, yeah, it was pretty obvious then. You can probably hear my mom and brother in there. The house isn't really good with being quiet in a room. But, yeah, that was really fun, and we did that twice, I think it was, and, I remember the last time we went, this guy went with us. They called me and asked if I wanted to go, and they said he was coming along, and I was like really thrilled, like, oh yeah, let's go. And I was doing work in the house at that time. I was doing some work in the kitchen, and I think I was fixing the ceiling or something like that. It's like, oh my god, yeah, I completely dropped that task, and I went for it. And I was like, yeah, I want to go. I kind of wondered at that time, did Mom not suspect something? Because I was a little too enthusiastic to be hiding it there. But, yeah, that was pretty fun. You know, although it wasn't fun the town we went to because it was the same place my grandmother died. First time I had a really big breakdown from it, thinking about her up there. But, yeah, I had a lot of... It was really difficult for me to come to terms with who I am. I mean, I accept it today. I'm fine with it today, I guess. Still have bouts where I wonder, God, is this really true? Am I really gay? Is this really me? But, I mean, I know it is, because the way I feel about guys, it's pretty obvious. The attraction is very, very powerful. I have no interest in girls at all. I have no interest in them. I don't see it. But, yeah, it feels better after really talking about this. I mean, I don't know who I'm talking to here, but whoever's listening, I really feel better getting this out. Because I've been holding this in for a long time, and I can't really talk about it very often. And it feels really good to get it out. So I appreciate whoever's watching it. I really appreciate you watching it and listening. Because I really need to get stuff out sometimes, and this really helps. Well, and I have no idea how long this is, and I think YouTube limits it to like 10 minutes a video or something like that, so I'm probably going to have to edit it, because I think I've been on here for a little while longer than that, so that's all I've got to say. It's my coming out story. It wasn't anything unusual, but I thought I would share that, so someone else might be able to use my example, you know. Maybe they're dealing with their own experience coming out. Maybe they need to hear something like this. If that helps somebody, and I'll be glad to know that it's helped. And because I could have used the same thing when I was still coming to terms with it. I really could have used this kind of stuff. And I've seen so many people on YouTube that's had their coming out stories, and they've really been inspiring. They've really been interesting. So I thought I'd share my own. Add to it. That's about it for now. Talk to you later. Bye.